Welcome to Crack Your Customer Code. Reveal the hidden triggers that fuel growth using the Buying Triggers Mapper. Thank you so much for being here today for our Force for Good Masterclass. Today we're focused on a very important topic, which is buying triggers. So I invite you to consider a few questions as we come in today. All right. So connect your heart and ask yourself, have you paused to consider the exact moment when your ideal customer is most ready to receive what you have to offer? So think about that. Have you had a moment when you were truly ready to receive what your ideal customer is most meant to receive from your offer? So really consider that moment for a second. Do you truly understand what inspires your best customers to take action? Or are you still piecing that together? Have you ever sensed that your message is really close, but it's not quite reaching the heart of your customer? And what might become possible if your company showed up more consistently and compassionately right in the moment your customers need you most? This is the topic of today. And as you come into this masterclass, I invite you to really dip into your heart and see where you can be of greater connection and service. Often the reasons why we're not seeing the conversion rates, we're not seeing customers buy, is because we aren't connected at a deep level to the moments when they need us the very most. All right, so let's dive in here. So what are buying triggers? Buying triggers are those internal or external cues that prompt a customer to make a purchase. So this is coming from within a customer, right? What are those psychological, emotional, or practical moments when a customer sort of resolves, I need something, I have a need or a want or a desire? And so we want to identify when those internal or external moments are, those cues that create an urgency in need or desire that makes them really ready, prepared and ready to make a purchase with you. So when we start to enter into understanding the deeper journey of a customer, selling becomes sacred when it's grounded in service to her timing, your customer's timing, and not pressure for your timing. And that's the purpose here today, is we want to become more intentional about the moments when you connect with your customers. Now, today's focus is on buying triggers, which is one of the core growth elements of the Force for Good flywheel. And we're going to be using the Buying Triggers Mapper, which is one of the tools in the Force for Good toolkit that comes inside of our book, A Force for Good. And so today we're going to go into this quite short, quite simple worksheet tool that's designed to help you and your team extract wisdom and insight, put it on the page, and have a breakthrough. And so we're going to use the Buying Triggers Mapper in this masterclass. And in the end, you're going to define 3 buying triggers that will help you connect more personally and more provocatively with your customer. You're going to identify one habit that you can put into place. We call it a high leverage habit, and one high potency action. This will be an action that will really elevate and propel you towards the results you desire: impact, scale, and profit. So right now, I invite you, if you haven't already, to download the Buying Triggers Mapper. And with the free weekly tool that we are offering through A Force for Good at aforceforgood.biz/weekly-tool, you'll find that it is available for free until May 25th. So grab it today and use it as we walk through the rest of this masterclass. And you'll see that it is part, as you're looking at this slide, you'll see it's part of this transformational flywheel. And what I always like to remind everyone is that the flywheel, you don't need to have every single leg of the flywheel to get the flywheel to work for you. The moment you start building, you start getting the flywheel together and getting it to spin. So what we do is we take a master class like this one today and decide on clarity. You invoke your wisdom and create clarity into one of the spokes of the flywheel. Today, it's the buying triggers. And then you take action. And that's what gets the flywheel spinning. So when you invoke a new high leverage habit by the end of today, and you take one big action, it can be small but big in terms of results, it will create a new pathway where your company automatically builds exponential growth every single day, week, and year you're in business. So let's get into it. Why is it that buying triggers are so essential to growing your purpose-led company? So you can't scale a company if you don't know what moves your customers. Contemplate that for a moment. So you may have a customer out there who one day will be a customer, but if you don't know the moments that will trigger their internal desires and therefore help you get closer to those moments, you may spend a lot of time focused on marketing to potential customers who just aren't ready. And so what we want to do today is help you refine and define those moments so that you become more appropriate in those moments that you connect with them. And this will help you have more effective marketing. You'll see your conversion rate start to increase because you're getting to the heart of what matters to your customer really on the inside. And it also helps you create greater alignment across your product, sales, and service. So this will help you give language to your sales and marketing and service teams around those moments when your customer needs you most. It also helps you and your team as you go through this process today to really develop more empathy. And that builds brand love. Think about that. We want to build brand love. When your customer feels heard and understood, that's when they feel a sense of connection to your brand. So when your message meets your customer's moment, that's when the magic happens. And today's conversation about buying triggers is intended to help you create those moments of magic. So let's talk about some ideas about what we mean by buying triggers. So let's look at a couple of companies out there. So one company is Clue, founded by Ida Tin. It's a femtech company. And so Clue is a platform where you can go and track your periods, right? You can track your ovulation cycle, your moods, how you feel, cramps, these kinds of things. So the moments when Clue can most trigger a desire or need from a new customer is through moments of empowerment. So somebody wanting to understand their own reproductive health. The moments when they feel confused or they want to understand more, it's then that they most are interested in Clue. It could be a moment when a woman has a desire for accurate menstrual and fertility tracking. So maybe she's decided to start getting pregnant. Maybe she's been trying to get pregnant, but it's not working. Or maybe she's had breakthrough bleeding or an unexpected period in the moments that she doesn't want it, and she wants to be able to track it better. It could be an interest in non-hormonal contraceptive options. So maybe she doesn't want to any longer take the pill or have another hormonal contraceptive. And so Clue gives her the power to understand how our cycles work. So these are specific triggers. We can look at a couple here on the page. You'll also find some more examples as we go through this discussion today. But we can talk about, let's for a moment, Lush Decor, founded by Jenny Jing Zhu. And her industry is home decor and manufacturing. And they can look at moments when people want affordable and stylish home furnishings or a desire to personalize living spaces. So when someone moves and they have a new place to decorate, this could be that moment, right? When a person is already looking for a piece of furniture, but they want to find something that's a little more affordable and stylish. So appeal of unique designs during economic downturn. So right now, for example, as the economy starts to slow, you might say, okay, this is an opportunity for you to look for really great stuff to make your home beautiful, but at a lower price. So these are ways that you start to see, get into the mind of your customer and identify specific triggers. So start to think about that. Where are the triggers that come in moments? What are those parts of the day when your customer recognizes a need that your company solve? All right, so now we're going to think about big picture. Where does this fit on our 4-page growth plan? So in the Force for Good system, we have a 4-page growth plan, 4 pages that you look at every week and update a little bit. And right now, today, this week, we're updating the part of buying triggers, and it happens to fit on the first page of the 4-page plan. And it's under the section where we home in on knowing who you serve. So the 4-page growth plan helps you identify where you're going by understanding, knowing what your purpose is, who you serve, and your impact plan. So this section that we're in right now is knowing who you serve. And right on this page here, you've got a box that says why. So it's why is it that people are buying from us? Why are they needing our solutions? And we talk about here trends and triggers. So macro trends, which we discussed on another masterclass, and then here buying triggers. So in this box, you're going to put both 3 trends, macro trends, and 3 triggers. And so you're looking big picture and then specifically buying triggers, these moments in your customer's day when their heart leaps out and needs a solution. All right, so this is where it fits in the bigger picture. The 4-page plan is your flywheel in a 4-page plan. All right, so the next page here is introducing us to the buying triggers mapper, where we're going to discover moments of urgent need, and we're going to talk about the different types of triggers, and you'll identify specific moments when your customer could be triggered. You're going to decode your customer's emotional and situational cues. And then you're going to align your messaging, your sales and offers with those moments by looking at habits and a high potency action. All right, so let's go right into it. So here's where we're going to look at the first 2 pages, right? And so there are 8 types of triggers we're going to discuss. Need or want recognition. So when somebody wants recognition, when there's a change in circumstance, when there's a moment of urgency or scarcity. The 4th trigger is fear of missing out, or FOMO. The 5th is emotional appeal. The 6th is social proof. The 7th is value proposition. And the 8th is convenience and accessibility. So we're going to walk through each of these, and you'll find in the buying triggers mapper that there is a place for you to just brainstorm all the buying triggers that come up for you as we think about each of these 8 types of triggers. So the first one we're going to talk about is need or want recognition. So we all have moments when we need or want recognition. Think about that. So when people realize something in their life isn't working as well as it could. And they begin looking for a better way. All right. So this is when this is the moment we want to focus in on first. So this is the moment that they recognize that there's something they want or need that is not being met. So an example would be a working parent reflects on their daily routine and realizes how often dinner feels rushed or skipped. So they start exploring meal delivery options that could help them nourish their family without added stress. So it's specifically that trigger of feeling rushed, dinner feeling rushed or skipped. Another trigger could be that moment where you think, oh gosh, I really wish that I was able to have a better dinner sitting down with my family. Right? So that's a trigger. That's when a person recognizes that I have a need. Another example is a small business owner who notices that juggling multiple productivity tools is creating more friction than flow. I suppose we've all been there, right? So that small business owner might be curious if they could find an integrated platform that could help them reclaim time and stay more focused. So that overwhelm from multiple tools is a trigger. And so that's a great frame for a company that might be selling an integrated platform. So another example is a homeowner who becomes aware of a persistent musty smell in the basement and realizes it may be a sign of moisture buildup. So it's that, oh, I smell something. So now we know that we need to create a healthier home environment. And that could be for a company who's offering various types of home safety, home health, healthy living types of products. So think about the moments, right, that your customer realizes in their day, they have a visceral experience where they realize, oh my God, my life is not working, right? I think about the exact time when your customer feels hit, like, oh, that's when I'm tying my daughter's shoes, or I'm trying to put together a board report, or when I get in the car and I realize I don't have enough gas. These are specific emotional moments. So look and see what those moments of recognition, recognizing a want or need live. All right, the next area is changes of circumstances. So what are those moments when life changes? A new home, someone gets pregnant, someone gets divorced, someone changes a job, someone gets a promotion. So what are those changes in moment that bring about the need for your product or service? Think about that. So life shifts, big or small, and this can prompt people to reevaluate what they need in order to thrive in a new chapter. Okay. So think about all those what are those changes of circumstance that lead to meeting your customer? So here's some examples. After receiving a promotion, a job promotion, someone feels called to step more fully into their leadership role. So they begin to explore clothing that aligns with how they want to show up. More confident, grounded, authentic. So again, that's coming from a customer, from a clothing company, but it could also be from, it could be a leadership coach, right? Looking leadership company, what could you offer in those moments? So that's an example. A second example is a family that recently relocated to a quieter, more rural community, realizing that one car no longer fits their daily routine. So they've left New York City. People who have moved this is very specific. Notice how these triggers are specific. A family moves out of New York City, or moves out of Boston, or moves out of San Francisco into a place where now they've only had one car. Now they need two in order to meet the family needs. They begin looking for a second vehicle that fits their budget and lifestyle. So what are these triggers, these moments that precede your company being important? A third is a newly retired couple feels excited to explore more of the world. Okay, right? So as they plan their first extended trip, they begin searching for long stay travel solutions that feel both adventurous and comfortable. So, what are those buying trigger moments for you? What are those changes of circumstance that create a new awareness of need or help them reevaluate how they're already getting the need met that your company offers? All right, let's move on to the next one. The next trigger is urgency or scarcity. Now, I don't love talking about urgency as a or scarcity as a manipulative device. So sometimes I like to reframe this, right? As sometimes people move quickly, not out of pressure, but because the opportunity genuinely aligns with what they need right now. So I don't encourage you trying to prey on people, in moments when they're feeling down, but rather to see how you can really genuinely align with what they need in moments when they're feeling a sense of urgency or scarcity. So, an example would be a loyal customer receives an email about a special short term sale on products they already love. They decide to restock now to make the most of the offer while it's available. Okay. Another is an example of a founder exploring new tools for their team. And she learns that software they're considering is offering onboarding support for those who sign up before the end of the month. They decide it's the right moment to move forward. Another example is a couple searching for a meaningful getaway. And this couple finds a small eco lodge with only one room left for their anniversary weekend. It feels like the right time and place to reconnect. So we can use this idea of urgency and scarcity to help clients say yes and align with what their desires are right now. All right. The next type of buying trigger is the fear of missing out. And again, I don't like to prey on people's needs. I don't want us all to create manipulation here. So it's really more here about inviting a sense of possibility. So rather than invoking fear, let's invite a sense of possibility. Seeing others have meaningful experience often inspires people to explore those possibilities for themselves. So helping people see a brighter possibility is in general, I more of what I hope you use this for, rather than helping them feel deeply afraid and scared, because that's not a very purpose led, or it's not in the highest and best use of your brand. So a person who notices their friends talking about how much a mindfulness app has helped them feel more grounded would be a trigger. Intrigued, they decide to give it a try and see if they could support them too. Another would be a woman notices a group of peers sharing how a local fitness studio has helped them feel stronger and more energized. So this might invoke this person to consider joining and feel curious about whether it might help her feel more vibrant as well. So using these ideas of other people, the community, examples of others who've gone before and experienced a hopeful new outcome is what we're headed for here. So when are those moments? What are those experiences where you could demonstrate that others are having what you offer? And how could you create, what are those things they want that your customers already are receiving? What are those outcomes that your customers are already generating? Another third example is a business owner hears trusted peers talk about a mastermind that's helped them grow with more clarity and intention. So she goes and explores whether it could be a supportive next step in her own leadership journey. So the FOMO idea here is creating a sense of expansion and possibility that allows your customers to see what others who have gone before and experienced your solution have created in their reality, new outcome. The next trigger we'll look at is emotional appeal. Okay, so when messages resonate emotionally, it's often because they reflect something deeply human. And the more we can connect deeply in a human way, whether it's love or belonging or meaning or joy, relief is often ones that I look for, hope. So look to see what are those emotions. And we have a whole exercise in a separate masterclass where we look for 3 clarifying emotions that customers want to feel. So what are some emotions that your customers want to feel? So maybe start to see, what do they want to feel? What is the feeling they come to you with? The feeling that's associated with the pain or lack, or before they get the solution. And then what's the feeling you intend to bring through your solutions? So an example is a pet owner sees a story about the bond between a dog and its human companion. So if you have a pet, this will resonate, right? How you feel having a pet. And it's reminding of their own. It inspires them to invest in products that support their pet's well-being. So that connection that they feel to their dog or their kitty cat or to their hamster or to their fish, right? What is it, that feeling? It's that connection, human connection to that dog or cat. Another example is a holiday brand creates a short film that evokes warm memories of family gatherings. So that feeling of connection and warmth, that feeling of togetherness. So maybe that is something your customer longs for. What is that? What are those feelings that they connect with? And what are those moments that they have felt that before? So it reminds the viewer of the film or the ad of what matters most, and inspires them to create meaningful moments of their own. So what are those meaningful moments and emotional moments that your team and your company are going to create for your customers? The third example is a nonprofit shares a story about how one donation made a real difference in a child's life. So that's the moment that you feel, oh, I made a difference. So it resonates with those who believe in community and want their contributions to create real and lasting impact. So that feeling of fulfillment, that feeling of impact, of satisfaction, of purpose, of meaning. So what are those emotional moments? What are the emotions that really we want to help our customers feel when they use our solutions? All right, the next trigger is social proof. All right, so this is another way to look at a trigger. So we are relational beings. When others share stories of what's working for them, it often helps us discover what might work for us too. So that social proof, the influence of social validation, something is working for somebody else, helps us. So an example is a person hears a podcast interview with someone they admire who shares how a certain wellness practice has transformed their daily life. Curious, this person begins to exploring that wellness practice themselves. So think about how that example could reflect upon your business. Another example is a company features case studies of real customers, people who faced similar challenges and found meaningful solutions. Helps others see themselves in the story and feel more confident in taking the next step. So what are those? What's the social proof that they want to see, your customers would love to see? What's the stories that they want to hear other customers that you already have? What would those stories be about? What would they be sharing? The next example is a professional looking for the right course to grow her skills, and she finds a community of alumni who share openly about their experience. So their stories help her feel that she will be supported and seen as she goes through the journey. So what's the social proof that they're looking for? What is the recognition that they're looking for that that what this solution might be offering could work for them. So identify the social proof that would validate and help them feel triggered to say, yes, it's time for me to make an investment in this product or service. Okay, now we have the next trigger, which is value proposition. So, value proposition, it's that perceived value or benefit offered by a product or service compared to its cost, leading to a decision to buy. All right. So, the value, so it's the higher value than what they're going to spend in terms of money. So, when people understand and believe that what they're going to buy truly meets or exceeds what they're giving, they are more likely to buy with confidence. Okay, so sometimes and you want to think about what are they giving and what are they receiving in order to get the result. So they will pay for something, so there's money. They will need some time to integrate or use or explore your solution and to use your solution and take care of the solution and whatever kind of solution it is. It may involve the energy of upkeep or including others in the solution. So, how much time, energy, and money is it? And so that's what it costs them. And what's the value you're giving to them? It should really exceed whatever that time, energy, or money is. So, think about what that value is that you're giving to them. So, an example would be a founder chooses a project management platform after comparing several options, and one stands out by offering not only strong features, but also a personal onboarding experience and better support, all at a similar price. They feel the value justifies the investment, right? So that's example one. The second example is a parent exploring summer camps for their child. Chooses one that emphasizes small group sizes, expert staff, and personalized enrichment at a cost that feels worthwhile for the peace of mind and quality of care provided. See how there's a way, it's way more valuable than what the cost is going to be. A third example is a wellness brand offers a monthly subscription box that includes premium supplements, guided meditations, and access to a supportive community. So customers feel the package delivers value across multiple dimensions. So the physical, the emotional, and the relational. So think about the value that you're bringing to your customers and what is the cost to them to participate and get the result. What's the time, the energy, and the money that they must spend? And how can you facilitate all of that so that it's worthy of their time, worthy of their energy, worthy of their money, and then the value is way above and beyond that. So what are those? What does that look like? The value proposition. All right, moving on to the last one. The last buying trigger is convenience and accessibility. All right, so think about factors such as ease of purchase, delivery options, or user friendly interfaces that facilitate the buying process, right? You want it to be easy, easy peasy. So ease often makes the difference when a product or service removes friction from someone's life or makes something previously complicated feel simple and accessible, quick, easy. They're far more likely to engage. So think about what's involved in your solution, every part of it, and how you can make it easier for them to say yes, easier for them to sign up, easier for them to get the solution implemented, easier for them to see the results. So, first example is a mental health app allows users to book therapy sessions with licensed professionals across tools and track their mood, all from their phone. So, the simplicity of starting care encourages more people to seek support. Think about how that affects or how that would align with your business. The second example is a local farm launches an online CSA subscription with home delivery. Not just you have to come to us, but we're going to deliver it to your home and easy online sign up. So, customers who love fresh seasonal food now find it easier than ever to access. No weekly farmers market trip required. Wow. So, that's pretty cool. Next, the third example is a clothing brand who introduces a virtual try on tool. Love this. And free return shipping. Shoppers who were hesitant about fit or sizing now feel empowered to make a confident purchase from the comfort of their home. So, how could all of these examples apply to your customer? What are those moments of friction where they have to get in the car, or they have to wait for customer service, or there's a delay, or they have to fill out a whole bunch of paperwork, or they're not sure if it's going to fit them? Think about how to make it more convenient and accessible for your customers. So now we've gone through all the triggers. So need or want recognition. So those moments when the customer realizes I have a need. Those moments when you have a change in circumstance. What are those changes in circumstance? What is the urgency or scarcity, the perception of limited time or limited basis, something that's going to help them feel aligned that now is the time? What are those moments where they fear missing out, where they fear a lack of connection or belonging, where they could drive themselves towards a opportunity or possibility? When is their emotional appeal? What is their emotional appeal going to be? So what's the emotion they're coming away from? Where do they start? Are they frustrated? Are they confused? And what are they going to move into? They're going to feel comforted or elated or relieved or hopeful or excited or whatever that feeling is. So what are those emotional feelings, those emotional triggers that are going to help them say, this is the company, this is the solution for me? What is the social proof? So they're going to want to know that others are receiving real benefit. So what benefits do they want others to see? And then what's the value? What's the real value? They're going to give time, energy, focus, and money in order to get this support and service or product from your company. So what's the value they're going to receive in exchange? Help them understand what that value is and have others demonstrate it for them. And then how do you make it easy? How do you make it convenient and accessible? So these are all the different buying triggers types. So now you've gone and made a big, big, long list. And now just start to go through your list and prioritize which ones are most exciting for your customers, which ones are the low-hanging fruit that when you start to tap into those needs and you start to amplify those triggers, seeing where you can get right to the customer right when they have that need and when you can speak to them directly to their heart, is when you're going to have the most profound result. So select 3 buying triggers you want to focus on for the next 12 to 24 months, maybe less, but really give yourself 3 that are compelling and provocative, and give yourself time, 12 months at least, to develop those 3 buying triggers. And remember, a buying trigger is more than a signal. It's a sacred invitation to serve. Okay, so now you've got 3 buying triggers. It says 3 to 5, but start with 3. 3 is really plenty. And so 3 buying triggers are going to help you be of higher service. So this is now giving you new clarity, deeper knowing, and practical power, practical moments, specific, clear moments that can help you connect with your customers. You discovered the real moments when your customers are most open to receiving support. Think about that. You brought fresh clarity to how and where your message meets the lives of your customers. You aligned your team. So now you have these buying triggers. You can now align your team around what really moves them, what moves your customers, not just what sells, but what moves them from the inside. You employed empathy. Empathy is so critical. So you used this empathy for the human experience behind every purchase. And now you're getting really focused, not on you, not on your product, not on your service. You're focused on your customer. You named 3 growth levers that can scale your business with more ease, trust, and giving you more freedom. Because the more you can articulate these triggers and communicate them within your team, now they're empowered to make great choices and to go out and connect with customers and to do it whether you're there or not. So your deepest impact begins the moment you honor what your customer is feeling, not just what they're buying. So now you can take what you just gathered, these 3 buying triggers, and add them to the first page of your 4-page growth plan. Put it right in the section marked trends and triggers. It's the why they buy. And now let's put your triggers into action. So again, we think about your flywheel. So we just developed one of the legs of your flywheel, which is the buying trends. And now we're going to start to spin the flying wheel all along with the other components that you've already defined in the other master classes. So today we're inviting you to invoke a high leverage habit that will help you use buying triggers over and over again, daily, weekly, monthly, annually. So high leverage habits are habits that when repeated, guarantee forward momentum, guarantee that you will keep coming back and remembering and moving forward these buying triggers. So what is a weekly or monthly habit that would keep buying triggers visible to you and your team? Ask yourself that question. What would that look like? Maybe it is looking at your weekly team meeting, which hopefully you already have. You could add right to the agenda of your weekly team meeting. You could add to that agenda that you're going to review the buying triggers. A second idea is that maybe you do a monthly audit of marketing assets to align with triggers. So maybe you put into your calendar a monthly meeting, second Tuesday of each month. You're going to meet up with members of your marketing, sales, and customer service product team, and you're going to talk about buying triggers. Right? You could talk about macro trends and buying triggers the same time, for example. And you're going to identify how you can improve your marketing assets in that monthly meeting and set goals every month to improve on the buying triggers. Another idea, another high leverage habit is you could create a customer story database. I like this. This is really powerful. And you could say, okay, every month, I'm going to create a customer story database that shares the buying triggers and emulates one of those 8 types of triggers in the story. And I'm going to make it part of the agenda of the monthly town hall that I do with my entire company. So I'm going to share the buying trigger and share it within the context of a customer story. So that could become every month you do that. And you now have a database 1 month at a time of your customer stories with buying triggers. Another example here is a quarterly customer interview. So maybe you as the founder or maybe the director of marketing could be doing this on a monthly basis where you do a customer interview focused on the triggers. Assign it to someone and add it to your monthly dashboard meeting. And then you can really start to grow and focus these triggers, and there will come up more triggers when you start to talk to them. You'll realize when these customers actually felt the need, what that moment was. And just remember that when you show up at the exact moment of your customer's need, your business becomes the answer to their prayer. So think about that, how profound that can be. when you align with their buying triggers. So the next piece, the last piece, is to identify one high potency action. And a high potency action is simply a potent one-time action that causes a leap forward. Okay, a leap forward. So, what is an action that you can commit to in the next 7 days to put to use the 3 buying triggers you just identified? So, perhaps you want to rewrite your homepage or delegate somebody to do that. You might want to develop a marketing campaign for one of those triggers. You might you might have a meeting, schedule a meeting for later this week with your sales team to talk about the 3 triggers and have a discussion about the triggers. Maybe it's inviting them to listen to this masterclass and use the worksheet and find their own triggers and have them come back to you with triggers. It could be an interview where you go out yourself and interview 3 customers to validate your triggers and talk about these 3 triggers you identified. Or it could be that you delegate that. Maybe you have all of your sales team, everyone on your sales team, everyone in your marketing team. I interview one customer and come back in a week and share with stories. You could also record a team video describing your 3 triggers. So just notice how you could really move this idea of a buying trigger, and all 8 types can kind of come in your mind and go, and see how it could really make a big difference in your business. And just notice how the timing of a buying trend or a trigger isn't just tactical, it's actually transformational. Transformational for your customer and transformational for your business. All right, so here's what we did today. You defined one of the core growth elements, one of the elements that when you put your energy and attention and wisdom into it, it creates growth. And that is the buying triggers. You identified 3. You also learned how to use the buying triggers mapper, so you can use it again and again. You can assign it to members of your team. You can now integrate those buying triggers into your 4-page growth plan and start to see how you're getting deeper and deeper into your knowing who your customer is. You're starting to identify, you went ahead and identified a high leverage habit, and you committed to a high potency action to move your buying triggers forward. So you did something powerful today. You made it easier for your best customers to find you and say yes. So acknowledge yourself for that. If you haven't already, pick up a copy of my book, A Force for Good. This book includes all of the tools. It is a full system, full flywheel system for your company to grow, exponentially grow, impact, scale, and profit. And we talk about the triggers, the buying triggers, and the buying triggers mapper in chapter 6 of the book. It also includes all of the tools. So you can always get any one of the Force for Good tools when you have the Force for Good toolkit, which is available by buying the book. So a forceforgood.biz/book is where you can buy the book. You can also sign up to get this at the free Force for Good tool of the week. And every week we launch a masterclass and a tool, and you are able to get this, and you'll get an email with recordings and links. And you can get that at a forceforgood.biz/weekly-tool. And you can also install the growth system using our accelerator. So this is the full Force for Good system integrated in one program. You're able to go sign up and work at your own pace to install all the modules. It has 12 modules. You can install it weekly, you can install it monthly, you can install it as quickly or as slowly as you like. And it's a system of leading your team into exponential high impact growth by focusing on the areas that most impact success in your company. So it includes videos, tools, assessments. You can do it alone. You can do it with your team. And the tiered pricing starts at $599. And you can get that at a forceforgood.biz/accelerate. So, last, I thank you for this opportunity to serve and support you. It is my honor and pleasure to work with founders like you, making the world better. And so, as you visit today's tool, I encourage you to connect your heart and soul and use these buying triggers to grow your company. Remember, the world is made better by women led business. Let's all go make the world a better place.